This is Window on the East, a podcast from Bne IntelliNews. Subscribe at bne.eu.
Bne IntelliNews podcast with me, Clare Nuttall, news editor and Southeast Europe bureau chief of Bne IntelliNews. Today I'm speaking to our Western Balkans correspondent Valentina Dimitrievska in Skopje, North Macedonia. She has been covering the escalation in tensions in northern Kosovo. Part of Europe's newest country, but populated mainly by ethnic Serbs, northern Kosovo has seen a series of violent incidents in the last few months. Valentina, thank you for joining me this afternoon. Can you explain the underlying reasons behind the tensions between Serbia and Kosovo?
Kosovo was a Serbian province and part of former Yugoslavia when it enjoyed a full set of rights, mini republic but still under Serbian central authority. Yugoslavia's breakup started in 1991 when several separate states were created, but Kosovo remained part of Serbia and under Slobodan Milosevic autocratic regime, Albanians there felt oppressed. Kosovo unilaterally declared independence from Serbia in 2008 after the bloody conflict, and in 1998-99 between Kosovo guerrilla fighters and Serbian security forces of Milosevic, it ended with a NATO strike on Serbia and left 10,000 people killed, displaced, missing. There were many people displaced and missing from both sides, and now the situation is that majority of the population in Kosovo are Kosovo Albanians and Serbs are only minority, and the relations between Serbia and Kosovo are not good at all. And I think there are some 100,000 Serbs in Kosovo, and half of them live in northern part of the country.
Why is Kosovo still so important to Serbia?
Let's remind that Kosovo is a very sensitive issue for Serbia, as it has historical and cultural relevance. It has many Orthodox monasteries, there, monuments, not to mention natural resources like huge coal deposits and mining complex. Skopje in Kosovo was one of the biggest companies in former Yugoslavia.
Can you explain what happened in the second half of 2022 and why the situation deteriorated so dramatically?
It all started when Kosovo's Prime Minister Albin Kurti made the decision to introduce reciprocity measures against Serbia at the end of June last year. And the implementation of the decision was set to start on August 1st. And this is related to non-recognition of ID cards and card plates issued by Serbian authorities for Serbs living in Kosovo. And some wonder, what do reciprocity measures mean? It is what Serbia is doing to Kosovo, and now Kosovo is doing to Serbia. Just for example, Serbia had a sticker regime in place, putting stickers on Kosovo cars to hide the national symbols and state designations, and then Kosovo did the same. So this Kurti's decision actually angered the Serbs in Kosovo, who see Serbia as their motherland, but also Serbian authorities who act as protectors of Serbs in Kosovo. And the reaction started with setting up barricades at two border crossings in the north of Kosovo on July 31, and that seemed to be the beginning of tensions. So to calm down the situation, the international community convened a leadership meeting for August 18 in Brussels between Vučić and Kurti, but it didn't bring any solution. For Vučić, the new rules mean that Kurti has plans to expel Serbs from Kosovo, and he said that Serbia would not allow this to happen. He underlined that with this move, Brussels agreement reached back in 2013 will be completely dismantled. On the other hand, Kurti wants to show that Kosovo is an independent state and has a right to impose its own rules on the whole territory of the country. It's like proving who is in charge in Kosovo. The tension ceased for a while after Kurti said he would postpone the process of implementation of the new rules until September 1, and then he again postponed the deadline for October 31, I think, under the US and EU pressure, saying this would be the last one. Before that, at the end of August, Kosovo and Serbia reached a deal on ID cards, but not on car number plates. Namely, Serbia agreed to abolish the entry-exit documents for Kosovo ID holders, and in turn, Kosovo agreed not to introduce them for citizens with Serbian ID cards. To provide some background, ethnic Serbs who live mostly in northern Kosovo maintain close relations with Serbian authorities, and most of them use Serbian documents and license plates. Actually, the Kosovan authorities started issuing new car plates for local Serbs on September 1 and provided incentive for Serbs to change them by offering zero tax or registration fees, but there was no big interest for this. I think only 20 cars maybe changed their plates. So this was because Serbs in Kosovo were afraid to replace their car plates with RKS plates, which reflects the name Republic of Kosovo as an independent country because several cars owned by Serbs who decided to get Kosovo plates were set on fire. Under international pressure, Putin said at the end of October that the decision on the replacement of Serbian plates with the Kosovo code will remain in force, but its full application will start in April this year. In the meantime, the Kosovan authorities sent warnings to Serbs who didn't replace their car plates until November 21, and after that date, they could be fined. Then the Serb list, which is the main party of Serbs in Kosovo, requested an urgent meeting with Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić, claimed that Kurti had threatened that starting from November 1, authorities will start seizing property of Serbian citizens and vehicles with Serbian plates. On November 5, head of the Serbian list, Goran Rakic, said that Serbs from Kosovo's north decided to leave all political institutions, the parliament, the government, the courts, the police, local authorities in 4 municipalities in the north and all the administrative offices there. After Serbs resigned, Kosovo President Vjosa Osmani called an extraordinary elections for mayors in that 4 municipalities for December 18 to fill in vacations. In the meantime, Kurti appointed head of the small ethnic or progressive democratic party on December 1 as Minister for Communities and Returns in his government to replace Rakic, who resigned. Vučić was strongly against this because the party of the new minister got very, very small support in previous elections and enjoys no support from Belgrade. He is not considered legitimate representative. Elections were initially scheduled for December 8th after international partners said that there are no conditions for elections at all. Osmani set a new date, April 23. But before that, in one incident, when municipal buildings were attacked during election preparations, the police arrested a former police officer, Dejan Pantic. Kosovo Serbs started to erect barricades at the border with Serbia due to the arrest of Pantic, and the Kosovo police suspect that he participated in this incident when the premises of the Central Election Commission in North Mitrovica and Zubin Potok are demolished. He was even charged with terrorism, and Serbs wanted him to be released. From the Serbian side, the things also seem different, and again, the violation of human rights was used as a tool which is practiced in every crisis. That Pantic was not receiving medication, that his health condition was deteriorating, that he was treated badly, and things like that. And finally, the happy end, Serbian President Vučić sent an appeal to Serbs in Kosovo to remove the barricades, as he got strong guarantees from the US and EU that the demands of Kosovo Serbs will be met. In the meantime, the court in Kosovo released Pantic and sent him under house arrest. Kosovo Serbs who have been blocking roads for 20 days started to remove barricades at the end of December before the new year, and this is mainly a result of the huge efforts by the US and the EU to de-escalate the situation. So in the period during the high tensions, the Serbian army was put on high alert several times. Vučić army shot down a drone in one occasion. This was believed it came from Kosovo. a claim which was then denied by Kosovo. There were several shootouts. EU-Lex vehicle was set on fire, which greatly alarmed the international community. NATO has declared its readiness to intervene in case of escalation. At the time, Vucic asked for permission from KFOR to send up to 1,000 army and police members, but KFOR rejected the request after the New Year, specifically during the Orthodox Christmas, a decision which is expected for Vucic. So the NATO-led peacekeeping mission KFOR has been stationed in Kosovo since 1999, following the NATO intervention there, and it has around 3,800 troops to maintain the peace in the former Serbian province.
What is the current situation? Have things stabilized?
So tensions seem to have eased for now, but the situation is far from a complete stabilization. The current vacuum is being used for making a strategy for the near future by Belgrade, Pristina, but also by the international representative. Recently, Enlargement Commissioner Varhelyi met with the EU representative for Serbia and Kosovo, Miroslav Lajcak, to discuss further steps within the dialogue this year. But even though the two sides reached some kind of a deal recently, which apparently calmed the tensions, there are severe incidents during the Orthodox Christmas Eve, which is one of the biggest holidays in the Orthodox world, when two Serbian boys were wounded by a member of the Kosovo security force who was shooting at them from a moving vehicle. The shooter was arrested and the court ordered 30-day detention for him. On the very Christmas day on January 7, another young Serb man was beaten by a group of Albanians. Luckily, apart from accusation and comments by Serbian officials, there were no major escalations. So such incidents are possible. And there is one fun thing about this I want to share. There was an article published by the Jerusalem Post recently, written by an opposition member of the parliament in the Knesset, who says that Vucic actually stopped the World War III by not reacting to this incident. And he was described as a leader who is working on preserving peace in the region.
Do you think tensions are likely to rise again in the near future?
Yes, you mean elections in April, yeah?
Yes.
Yes, the tensions can be expected because the situation is very fragile there. Both sides have hardline standpoints, and it's very difficult to reach final agreement. The only good thing is that the experience so far has shown that under the pressure of the international community, everything is possible, which also means that conflict can be avoided even at the last moment. Kosovo President Osmani postponed the mayoral elections in 4 Serb municipalities to April after the party of ethnic Serbs abandoned the institutions. And it's indeed a new flashpoint. If the Serb list, which is the largest party of Serbs in Kosovo, doesn't want to return to the institution, it's unlikely that credible and acceptable representatives will be elected in April, and then Serbia will again get an argument for a fight.
Do you think there's a danger this could erupt into war?
Let's hope not. But who can know for sure? I will say again that the international community is doing everything in its power to avoid a new conflict. After the war in Ukraine caused by Russia, which caused far-reaching consequences for the entire continent, which led to an economic energy crisis, huge inflation, it's obvious that no one in Europe wants a new conflict. International representatives often remind about it. On the other hand, the war in Ukraine positively affected EU expansion plans and the engagement of the Union in the region of the Western Balkans. I mean, the war in Ukraine seemed to remind Europe that if it doesn't take care of everyone on this continent, it's very easy to get into conflicts, especially when you know that the Balkans has always been known as a powder keg, which can explode any moment. So following the increasing tensions with Serbia, could be also mentioned several times that it doesn't exclude the possibility.
Would you say Russia is an important factor in this regional dispute?
Yes, of course. Russia has a big role in this simply because it's Serbia's biggest ally, and it's defending Serbia policy on Kosovo. Before the sanctions, Serbian and Russian senior officials have had regular consultations on Kosovo. And Russia defended Serbian request for sending troops in Kosovo to protect Serbs there, saying it's absolutely legitimate. And America is Kosovo's biggest alliance supporter. So the US-Russia relations on a micro level are mirrored in Kosovo and Serbia. Now Kosovo Prime Minister Kurti has warned on several occasions that Russia and Serbia work closely together on military policy and that they had jointly held over 100 military activities at the border when the latest crisis emerged in the summer. So the EU leaders are also seeking to counter Russian influence in the Western Balkans. The only one who can benefit from the war in Kosovo seems to be Russia. And with Moscow backing Serbia in its refusal to recognize Kosovo, the unresolved situation between Serbia and Kosovo is seen as one of the main potential flashpoints in the Western Balkans. That the situation is really difficult can also be seen from the fact that Vučić said several times that Serbia is facing greatest challenges so far, as well as enormous international pressure.
I'd like to ask you about the regional perspective. How is this crisis seen from where you are in Skopje?
Well, here in Skopje, there are no great fears of possible conflict. The situation in Kosovo is not perceived as something dramatic, perhaps because we ourselves are witness of major political crises, turbulences, and pressures from some neighboring countries that simply make the Macedonian people exhausted. In addition, the membership of North Macedonia in NATO in 2020 seems to give some sense of security. But we in Macedonia, the North, have other current problems that need to be solved. After the decades-long dispute with Greece that forced us to make painful concessions to change the name to North Macedonia, which left serious consequences. People included losing confidence in authorities and in the EU as institution. We have been exposed to great pressures from Bulgaria, and the last one is to change the constitution and include the Bulgarian minority, and that should be resolved this year as a precondition for continuing the negotiation process with the EU. Even though the largest opposition party, VMRO, and also Levica, the left, resolutely opposed to it, but not to the focus. The point is that we have our own not so easy problems to solve. In addition, there is the economic energy crisis, inflation, expensive food. In this sense, Kosovo seems like a distant problem, but of course no one will be happy if there is a conflict. In our country, there are a large number of ethnic Albanians who are close and who support the general cause of Albanians. We will see how the crisis will be managed.
What do you see as the prospects for a lasting solution to the conflict between Serbia and Kosovo?
Well, it's hard to say, but I would say that it is difficult, but not impossible. It's difficult because the two political leaders, Vučić and Kurti, have outlined standpoints from which they do not budge on, that it's Kurti wants a comprehensive solution based on independence, which is the main priority for him, while Vučić doesn't recognize Kosovo's independence and its membership in the United Nations and not in the EU or European bodies. With such hard-line position, it's very difficult to come to any approachment. So with the Vučić-Kurti tandem, it's very difficult to anticipate a permanent solution. They don't get along when Kurti says Belgrade must recognize the independence. Kosovo and Vučić says there is no chance we to recognize Kosovo. Then what? How to find a solution? The Serbian president said in one occasion that the number of incidents against Serbs in Kosovo's north and their property has increased by maybe 50% since Kurti came to power, so he's blaming him directly for this situation. So both sides ought to be more flexible, and after all, when North Macedonia resolved the dispute with Greece, which a few years ago seemed impossible, why can Serbia and Kosovo find a solution? However, these were for North Macedonia very painful concessions, and none of the Macedonians likes this fact, but that is a political price of staying in the game in this harsh geopolitical landscape. And if you want to hear my opinion, of course, the compromise solution can still be found with the help of the international community. For example, Kosovo independence to be accepted by other countries that have not done so But for Serbia to be allowed to not to recognize Kosovo and Pristina to accept that effect, and in the meantime to find an appropriate mechanism for to function smoothly.
Can you tell me more about what the international community is doing to try and resolve this long term?
International representatives from the EU and the United States are doing a lot, doing great efforts in order to avoid major conflict. All the time they are in consultations with each other and with the Serbian and Kosovo representatives in an attempt to find a solution. And of course, with the help of the Western representatives, the tensions were avoided to escalate, and at the last moment on several occasions. The last one was before the New Year holiday, when with the help of the international community, Vučić ordered the Serbs in Kosovo to remove the barricades in order to temporarily calm the situation. The last diplomatic effort was the visit of the U.S. High Advisor for Foreign Policy, Derek Chollet, to Pristina and Belgrade with renewed messages of finding a solution. And Vučić described Chollet as a very, very important and influential person and much more than an advisor. So the international community is expected to maintain or even to intensify efforts in order to avoid conflict in the region.
Thank you very much, Valentina.